Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the newest episode of Music Theory Mondays. Thank you for joining me. We're going to discuss the official names for all of the notes of the major scale. And by notes, I mean more degree of scale. So, for example, the first note of the C major scale, or rather the first note of any major scale, is called the tonic. Okay, and I do believe the word tonic comes from the word tone, tone referencing the note. All right, so the tonic is the first degree of the major scale. It starts it off. The second degree of the major scale is what's called the supertonic, and the supertonic is just a fancy way of saying above the tonic, the note and or chord that comes after the tonic, super being Latin for above. Supertonic is number 2. Number 3 is what's called the mediant. And the reason it's called the mediant coming from like the word medium or in the middle. This particular note, the third note of the major scale, is in the middle between the tonic and the dominant. And we'll talk about the dominant. We're on our way. So the third degree is the mediant. The fourth degree is what's called the subdominant. Sub meaning below the dominant. And then the fifth degree is the dominant. And of course, there are many videos in my playlists, especially Music Theory Mondays, where I talk about the dominant chord. And then the sixth degree is what's called the submediant. That is the mediant chord that is between the dominant and the octave. So the first mediant was between the tonic and the dominant chord. That was the third degree. But the sixth degree is the submediant, which is above the dominant but below the octave, which is just the tonic come full circle, right? And then, of course, the seventh degree of the major scale is known as the leading tone. And that, in conjunction with the 5 chord, kind of creates that necessity for resolution. The 5 chord actually contains the leading tone as the major third degree, and then that leading tone is a half step away from the tonic itself. So it's almost like you have a hierarchy here. Your most important scale degrees and or chords would be, of course, the tonic, because it names the key. It's the foundation. Then you have the dominant, which is the 5, all right? And I would argue that even though the leading tone is super important as a chord foundation for the diminished chord, it's lesser used. That leading tone, like I said, is more about the 5 chord, essentially. And then you have the 3 chord, 6 chord, and 4 chord that are kind of, in my opinion, they're all kind of on a separate level, a little bit lower in rank. Subdominant is great for resolution, but it's not as good as the dominant. It is the subdominant, so it's a little bit less strong. And then like the 3 and the 6, the mediant and submediant, those are good as like passing chords, just to kind of mix into your progression.